Hello everyone and welcome back to Her Lie I Tried to Believe. So we are just now starting chapter 2 in this endeavor with this creepy dude that is very obsessed over a girl that he hates? Question mark? I don't know. 2 years. It took 2 years to see her again. Oh, okay. By that time, my majoring was very well underway, as I was starting to be used to the university lifestyle. I was living on my own inside a gloomy one-room apartment for less than a year. I had zero passions and only knew how to do one thing correctly, which is, of course, studying, as if I was the subject of a curse a long time ago. I didn't know why I was so into it. Yeah, I'll probably have a lot of doors opened up to me in the future, but what if I don't want to enter any of them? I had no motivation to climb up the ladder, and surely wouldn't know what to do with all the money being thrown at me. But I guess this type of attitude could attract some people, as if they know talking to you would inevitably boost their own self-esteem. That's how I made my first friend, since, well, have I had a friend before? Well, it's not as if I was seeing him as a friend either way. He was in most of my classes during high school, and took that as an opportunity to start socializing with me during our courses together. I went on with the flow, finding my own amusement in his somewhat carefree demeanor. That's when one day, out of nowhere, he decided to invite me to this, I don't remember how it is pronounced. I can't call it a date. A group date, maybe? Freak it. Anyway, it was this thing where a group of men and women at the same age, and logically of the same number, meet with each other for, almost, the first time in an attempt to find love. It was obviously a cheap excuse for trying to find somebody to empty your load in, but whatever. To the point I was in, it didn't matter all that much. Trying to F someone was, as most of the men my age, any age really, one of my priorities, even though pretty much inaccessible. I didn't get out of my way to try and have sex, and that's probably the reason why I had zero sex life. So I accepted. He was kind of odd, though. He said to me, "You won't regret it, Tim. I even have a surprise waiting for you." And he would laugh like an imbecile. He was an imbecile, and only realized what he meant by that when I entered the bar we were meeting at. There were 7 waiting, 8 with me, 4 boys and 4 girls. 2 of those girls were completely unattractive, fat, or with a big chin and a weird hairstyle. The other one was already almost in bed with that big-mouthed guy, so those 3 were unbeepable. That was my first thought upon entering the bar. The second thought wasn't as different as the first one, but was still very surprising indeed. It was her. She was there, drinking a beer, casually talking with that other guy, sports-like type. Another one unbeepable, but, of course, not for the same reason. I should just get out of here. This is so pitiful, it's not even funny. That's when Mike, my friend, noticed my arrival and forcefully introduced me to the group. "Oh, this is the guy I was talking about. Hey Tim, come on, don't be shy. We were waiting for you." I almost clicked my tongue out loud, but that thought otherwise. Maybe that big chin one could be beepable with a couple of beers. I sat next to my friend. I tried not to look too much on the right-hand side of the table because the symmetry irritated me somehow. He said my name out loud and said everyone else's name right after. I don't remember any of them, and seriously don't want to use even the most useless part of my brain to store one of them. Wow. I still politely greeted everyone, until it came to that name. "And I could introduce you to Cassandra, but I guess I don't have to, right?" I look at him, annoyed. He's clearly happy to introduce her to me, as though me meeting her again would make me happy, like it's a gift or something. Why the F does he even know the fact that we already knew each other? I said, "Yeah," with a hand scratching my hair, a bit flustered. Likewise, she didn't look my way all that much and only said, "Hi," with a voice that could be misunderstood as a whisper. I'm grateful for that. Even if I harbored hate for her for the most part of my life, and probably still, the fact that she understood my reluctance to face her was what saved the little composure I had left. So I was able to enjoy my beer while chatting with the group of people around me. And it didn't disturb me all that much that she was actually there. It was just that, in the heat of the moment, I didn't know what to think of. I didn't even understand the feeling I had for her anymore. I hated her for so long a time that for me it was as though she wasn't even human. And the fact that she disappeared completely from my life at one point, my mind only assumed she was dead. So a non-human presumed dead, looking so lively and joyous, it was only natural that I was baffled a bit. Yeah, that's a good reason. She was sexy. No longer cute or beautiful, but sexy. She had a blue shirt which underlined well her overly seductive forms, a black skirt that I couldn't see very well due to the table, and her hair was loose and ended a bit under her chest. I tried not to look at her, but it was hard when she was surrounded by ugly girls. I still did what I must and tried to hook up with Chin Girl in front of me. After an hour and a half, I was at my 4th beer and the first couple decided to finish the night alone. This made things a bit complicated. Now there were me, the fat girl, my friend, the big Chin, the sports dude, and the other girl that I once knew. So it was obviously becoming harder and harder to actually not interact with her. That's when the phone of the girl in front of me, Chin, started vibrating. She became kind of hysterical by I think it was a message, that she received on her phone. She said a couple of words to the fat girl seated next to her, and then took off. The fat girl looked at me a bit awkward and said, "Sorry, her ex just texted her, so..." As if it was the most understandable thing in the world. So that ugly chick's just dumped me for a guy that probably flushed her a while ago. I was depressed, but not for her departure per se, obviously. At least the alcohol started to do its work. That's when everything started to turn into the wrong direction. My friend, who was seated on my left in front of the fat chick, was now seating on my right. The sports dude who once chatted with that girl was now enjoying his time with the fat chick on my left. That's when I realized that my friend, without notifying me in advance, started a group conversation with her and me. So from where do you know each other? I was staring at the table, or maybe at the beer in my hand, trying not to look too interested. I think she answered him something while giggling, but I don't remember all that much. She too seemed to be drinking quite heavily. That long? Man, I bet you're glad to be able to meet each other like this. Maybe it's fate, who knows? He was irritating me. It was so obvious that he was the one who pulled this off. Perhaps they were enmeshed with each other to humiliate me or something? That's when I uttered something that I probably shouldn't have. I don't know why I thought it was a great idea. Tell me. I looked at him with a bit of defiance. How do you know that she and I knew each other anyway? I looked at his every change in expression. I probably thought he would be confused, unable to explain himself properly, but that wasn't it. He was surprised that I didn't know the reason behind it. Come on, man. Everyone in high school probably knew about it. Don't you remember? That nasty girl with her friends who was staring in bad rumors about Cass because she just quit school? Ah. Crap. Now I remember. Oh man, I remember still. You were so ruthless. You walked up to those girls and started insulting the beep out of them about how uneducated they were, how they were wasting their time and had no future. Wow. And then you started numbering every achievement Cass ever accomplished, to the prize she won during some piano competition, to the national rank she topped with her academic results. And you know I'm not the one to hit a girl or anything, but this one was so asking for it. She didn't try to listen one bit and was continuously cutting you off after some bullcrap she heard somewhere down the street. How ridiculous. This was when I was still very much on edge from losing what I thought was my only drive in this world. Some biatches were bad-mouthing her about something along the line of prostitution or some stupid crap like that. It was the week after she had quit school, so anything goes, I guess. But then, since they had nothing else more useful to do, they started to say some bullcrap about her cheating during exams or giving sexual bribery to teachers in order to top higher in midterms. That's when I lost my crap, because telling those ridiculous things would insinuate that the rival I always thought as my equal was nothing more than a fake. And this was completely unacceptable. And yes, I would have beaten the crap out of them if it weren't for the teacher meddling with it. Hey Tim, do you remember what you shouted at her to make her shut up? Enough! Even if she prostitutes herself or even cheats during the midterms, doesn't change the fact that she's way better than the lots of you. At least she achieved everything she ever set herself out to do. You low-life biatches will never understand the meaning of the term achievement as long as you still live in this world. Do you understand, you worthless piece of crap? I'm saying biatches because that's what my dad says. So, I mean, I could call them female dogs, but that's kind of the flows better. I remember it down to the very last syllable. I have no freaking clue why though. He said it out loud, not nearly as perfectly as I remembered it, but it was still surprising hearing it from someone else's mouth. I then instantly noticed her blushing by understanding the meaning of those words. This is bad. This is a misunderstanding. I never said this in order to protect her. I said it because... At that moment, I knew for a fact that you were head over heels for her, and I found it so tragic you probably never had a chance to say it to her. So you can understand why, when I met with her out of absolutely nowhere at my part-time job, he points casually to her. I had to try and arrange something out for the both of you. So that's why you invited me here tonight? I was then at my 5th beer, and I was not what we call a heavy drinker back then, so I was agitated, alright, just it was easily concealed by my wasted features, which were naturally much more blatant. Yeah, man, what else? We're friends, right? You look so down all the time, I thought this might cheer you up. You didn't have to. Seriously, you didn't have to, you freaking idiot. She wasn't saying anything much. She was looking my way silently, but I couldn't muster the strength to look at her directly. I wondered why she was so silent when he was saying all those things which were directly related to her. Then... Oh, that's my girlfriend texting me. Sorry guys, gotta go. My useless friend got himself up in a hurry. What? What do you mean? You have a girlfriend? What was he doing here then? Yeah, tonight was for you, man. He approached me ever so slightly, his breath bringing the stench of warm beer with it, and whispered to my ear, "Enjoy yourself, will you?" And with this, he disappeared without a trace. Well, not disappeared, but I was intoxicated to a point where the actions my mind perceived around me were as though they were in fast forward. Life and time were moving rapidly without my consent. This was extremely awkward. I turned to my left side to ask the other two what they planned to do. I desperately wanted to end the night right then and there, but... Hey, have you any idea what... There was no longer anyone seated there. Noticing this, I looked around me to realize that she and I were the only ones left at the table. They took off 10 minutes ago, maybe. Or was it 15? But the first time that night, I made eyes contact with her. Her face was flushed slightly but red by the effect of the alcohol. It would have been visible to a blind that she was totally wasted. I didn't want to speak to her. I didn't want to have another minute wasting in her presence. But social etiquette was forcing me to, at the very frickin' least, make sure she doesn't die before reaching her home. Let's get out of here, I said pretty coldly. She accepted right away. She didn't show any fear of being alone with me, even though we were completely strangers to one another. Want to take a cab? I asked forcefully, but she said, "Let's walk for a bit, alright?" I clicked my tongue, but this time I made sure she heard it alright. She didn't mind, or at least she didn't show it. Come on, man. She had a smile plastered on her face ever since we left the bar, not slightly affected by my cold behavior. She looked happy, irritatingly so. Come on, dude. Like, chill out. We didn't talk at all. We were completely silent, and it was alright with me. It was alright until she stumbled a bit on my shoulder accidentally. Ah, sorry. Her body touched mine. I felt, for the 2 extremely little seconds it lasted, the form of her breast on my arm, and then the palm of her hand on my shoulder. It was then that I realized that she was a member of the opposite sex. Wait, what? She looks happy, doesn't she? With the happiness that she stole from me. If she hadn't quit school on that day, I'm sure our expressions would be reversed right now. Yet she's always been the one with the smile in the end. While we continue walking silently, but we're somehow closer now that I helped her back on her feet. Wait a minute. Isn't it that kind of situation? You know, that one where I walk her by the closest hotel and she's too wasted to understand what's going on? Maybe if I ask her nicely, she would even follow me willingly? Maybe she's still a virgin? Wouldn't that be wonderful? I couldn't satisfy myself by taking away her pride back then, but what about now? I could probably rape her and take this away from her. That pride and most of all, that smile. Dude. My jeans is starting to feel tight by those simple thoughts. What am I breeding? I take another hard look at her. Yes, what a beautiful body she has. Those hips and those breasts, even her lips seem obscene right now. It would be a total shame for her to be entirely ruined by a complete stranger. Dude. To be completely stained without any means of getting this purity she had back. I could probably play with her over and over again until her mind becomes as hollow as mine. It has now reached its complete magnitude. A throbbing sensation is starting to be felt in anticipation for this forbidden act my thoughts are drowning themselves in. One simple look at me would have probably given it away, but she's too preoccupied with trying to walk straight to even look my way. Imagining such pressure, so tainted with the sin of my imagination, let loose without any restraint, only pushes me further down this unforgiving path that shouldn't be crossed. But I already decided, didn't I? I'm already fantasizing on her purity only to increase the pain I would most definitely inflict on her. I want to make her cry, realizingly she will lose something she will never get back. At that time, I will lick every last tear from her face until she's completely drained out. You are a psychopath! My hand approaches her thighs slowly. If I could simply get my hand around her to help her keep her balance, as an excuse, I could easily control her destination. That moment will seal her fate, and at that time, I will rip away that smile from her perfect face that I always hated so much. Maybe, at the end of the day, I will be satisfied enough to forgive her. Maybe at the end of the day, I will finally become whole again. The only thing I regret is of not having acted the part of the start of the night. If I had faked to be gentle and caring, had laughed with her about how young we were back then, I could have pushed her even further down the road of complete hopelessness by betraying even her expectations. She said softly, out of nowhere. I abruptly stopped my hand from getting any further. I didn't notice because I was too focused on her alluring forms, but she was looking at my face. For how long? I have no idea, but she saw it. That, I'm sure of it. My disgusting expression, already tarnishing her with my eyes. She saw everything, and yet the only thing she said was, I'm sorry. I knew how much you hated me, yet Then she stumbled up on me again, with even less restraint. Her eyes, those eyes, I remember, were they really this way? It can't be. I stopped brusquely, but that means she stopped too herself. Do you have any money? I asked mechanically. Not much, she replied, as if knowing the question would inevitably be asked. Can't be helped. I pulled out my phone, and again mechanically inputted a string of numbers. What are you doing? I didn't reply to her. I didn't even look her way. Instead, Yes, at the intersection of... And I put away my phone, emotionlessly. Tim, I thought it would have been nice to talk for a bit. Don't you wanna? She seems let down. What does this woman want from me? Didn't she see my face just a moment ago? Is she that desperate to be raped by some loser like me? I take my wallet out, take two $20 bills, and shove it in her hand violently. The taxi will be there in 5 minutes. This should cover the bill. I turn around without waiting, or saying goodbye for all that matter. She doesn't say anything either. She simply looks at me with those eyes which are even colder than mine. Chapter 3. What's our time? 18. An unexpected encounter. Alright. I'll probably go ahead and end this one here. I'll probably just do each chapter. I think it'll be the simplest way. This guy's a creep. I don't like him. He is so obsessive-minded. Like, my heavens. I mean, what just happened, obviously, was the safest way. Like, he didn't do anything to her, which was great. But, I don't understand what's up with his mind. Maybe we'll learn soon. But until then, thank you for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.